Hello, BookTube. We'll continue with the Bankrupt Bookseller with business books, books on politics, etc. Enter a middle-aged man. Advance the bookseller into the center. The bookseller bows. I want the Dolly Dialogues, the best edition. The bookseller gropes around the shelves. He has no good edition of the book, he knows. He only has a good clean second-hand Nilsson, pre-war, 7 penny, and this he produces. Good Lord, is that the only edition? It is the only edition I've got, I admit. I dropped the third person. He was annoyed, but he hadn't time, and I couldn't say where a better edition could be got. So he bought the one I offered. Then comes the astonishing thing. He gave me an address to which the book was to be posted, an address here, and further instructions to stick an inscription in the front of it. Here is the inscription he gave me to put in. I thought it rather nice and wished I knew the recipient. Lines to accompany the Dolly Dialogues. Life aches sometimes and always will. The best of us it cannot fill. We crave for more than empty days of languor or of vacant praise. This book is good, not great, but quite well done, as these things go. I give it, so when dull care dogs throw in his teeth these dialogues. He was a little ashamed, and to prove to me he was really the sensible man he looked, he picked up a couple of books which were in a shilling case I sometimes display. He bought both Ernest J. P. Benn's The Trade of Tomorrow and Arthur Kitson's Trade Fallacies. Both books are old stock. I think they were published during the war, but my customer paid his half-crown, 2 shillings for businesses and 6 pence for Dolly, and went. These businessmen are wonderful, and there should be a market for the British Babbitt, if there is a British Sinclair Lewis anywhere. Their neat tailored appearance and their wild sentimental minds, their dull businesses and entertaining typists, their Rotary societies and their would-be romantic adventures, what curiosities they are. I would be a collector of them, and certainly the one who, in his mind, married Anthony Hope's the Dolly Dialogues, with a poetical presentation on the flyleaf, to Arthur Kitson's Trade Fallacies, will take first position and a high place in the prize list. My lot of business books become more entertaining when I dwell on these possibilities. What may be the upshot of a sale of my others, and now strangely are they to be joined by the purchaser? Of course, business books are hardly books at all. I rarely buy them deliberately and come in the lots I got at the sales. I have to take them in private purchases, and not a few I order, especially for customers who fail to claim their orders, or who, when they see the book they ordered, they think better of it. I don't blame them. I had a man the other day, it was more truthfully months ago, who ordered Progressive Co-Partnership published by Nisbet. He didn't like it when he saw it, and yet what is wrong with it? If one is interested, I am sure Mr. Ernest Wells can tell one as much as any. It is dedicated by the author to his wife, which is always touching, and he writes in his preface that the businessman who has written a book, for example, quote, is quite certain to be called a hypocrite if he does not happen to practice it in his own business, everything he may preach in his book, end quote. I will not call him a hypocrite anyway. If it was quite entertaining to read of Godin and Leclerc, of the gas companies and Lever Brothers, but that I can fancy a co-partnership world in which I could care to live. I am of the individualist camp. I am more taken with the bold case for capitalism or the confessions of a capitalist. These are more the stuff I like to read. I have to read business book if I have to read business books. Co-partnerships and cooperations at best produce herds of well-fed, contented folk, and this world may have little meaning, but the best of mankind somehow feel it was not for what we have dragged ourselves up from the slime of the primeval seas. Books about businesses and politics are rarely toy books. Businessmen cannot scan the immensities eternally. Poets do that and go mad or die of drink. Businessmen have to plan the narrow businesses of food and drink and shelter, and there is a literature which is all theirs to do. I do not despise it. Indeed, I have definitely often bought books which have that appeal. In political economy, I have Mill and Adam Smith, but readable both books which, if studied, would make any of us wiser than any prime minister I have lived under or seen. I have another work on political economy too, of which I am especially proud. It is quite unreadable, and I am sure unsaleable. I often take it down and look at it. I leave it about to tempt people, but it is unreadable as a cuneiform inscription. The book is on the principles of political economy and taxation by David Ricardo, Esquire, second edition, London, John Murray, Albemarle Street, 1819. It has a back and covers of green leather, is in excellent condition, never having been read, and it is really beautifully printed. I do like David Ricardo, Esquire. No publisher dare write Michael Arlen, Esquire, or even Rudyard Kipling, Esquire today. The book is on offer at 1 shilling. Its companion, though I had it in a different lot, a parcel from Dublin, is simply labeled in gilt speeches. The binding is white vellum. The boards are faded marble paper on an incredibly stout cardboard. It contains the speeches of the Right Honourable George Canning, the Right Honourable William Huskinson, and the substance of the speech. So the title page reads, of Francis Jeffrey, Esquire, upon introducing the toast, freedom of labour, but let the labour recollect that in exercising his own rights, he cannot be permitted to violate the rights of others. The dreary speech was published, it is almost unbelievable, at the request of the meeting and printed for Archibald Constable and Company. It is sold by all the booksellers in London, Glasgow, Leeds, Manchester, Birmingham, Sheffield, Aberdeen, Dublin, Newcastle on Tyne, Perth, Newcastle, Hull, and Liverpool. The 2 Newcastles is not a mistake, and I make bold to say, of all the booksellers who sold it in 1825, I am the only one with a copy today. The price again is 1 shilling. I got up from all this writing infinitely weary. Is there anything of vivid interest in this world of politics and books of business? I read their names over. An economist protest, Cannon. The state as a farmer, Bradford. Welfare work, Proud. The social contract, Rousseau. An introduction to the study of prices, Leighton. My knees weaken. My head is dizzy. I am overcome with the miseries of mankind and the dreariness of the roads along which they travel in pursuit of a mirage of happiness.